Hey everybody, it's me, and hopefully I can stay on today's subject without without getting off because I'm lacking meat. Pretty much I'm on a red meat fast where pretty much I only have like rice and eggs and vitamin shake and water for about 3 days. And this is my second day, so I'm kind of drained. But anyway, I saw a subject today to talk about, and I shall do it. Um, Pretty much, there was two topics today. I was discussing them on Twitter. If you follow me, if you'd like to follow me and don't already, it is at underscore Adrian underscore. Um, Pretty much you can follow me there. But pretty much, and I gotta stop saying pretty much. I notice I say that a lot. That's my what did I learn in public speaking class? Verbal graffiti. That's my graffiti that I always stick in. Pretty much. So if I say that too much, then just deal with it. But anyway, today's subject is being biased against someone who has a different sexual preference than you. That's been appearing a lot lately, so why not talk about it? Pretty much, the first one I'm going off of is this article that theblaze.com posted, and it says it's about an auto shop owner who is saying that he would not allow the sale of something. Let me read it. Okay. A Michigan auto shop owner said he has received death threats after announcing on Facebook that he would offer discounts to gun owners but refuse service to openly gay individuals. Now, let's see what God says about that. Pretty much, of course, there's laws of God, and anything against the natural tendencies of your spirit that God put in you is against God. But it's not written in the Ten Commandments. I mean, anything regarding a relationship, the only thing regarding a relationship in the Ten Commandments is the adultery. Do not commit adultery. That's what's in the Ten Commandments. Nowhere in the Ten Commandments does it not say you cannot be homosexual or bisexual or anything. But at the same time, it is in your spirit to not, in the spirit that God created to not do that, because you can tell it's against him, because back in the Old Testament, there's a scenario where he says that they're describing the town of Sodom and Gomorrah. And they were saying all the things that were happening, like men and men were getting together, women and women were getting together, and eventually God destroyed that town. So that gives us, that's in the Bible what tells us, don't do those things. And there's also things in the New Testament where followers of God, disciples of God, are describing what kind of traits not to do so that you can be aligned with the Spirit. Now, the reason it's wrong for him to do that is because God does not want you to judge the next person right off the bat and just say, oh, you're this way, so I can't service you or anything like that. That's prejudice, and God's no respecter of person. Everybody has their own sins inside. Just because your sin is different than the next. People who are hell-bent on just, bringing down anyone who's homosexual or whatever, that's just somebody who's found a certain topic that they want to stick to and just say, oh, let's just focus on this one sin, when there's a million sins about people. There's various different sins in different people. It's not right to have somebody come in your store and say, oh, that person is gay, so I'm not going to serve you. That's not for my religion. No, that's incorrect. You can't, for your own prejudiceness, you cannot use the Bible or God to back up your own prejudiceness. You have something against that person on your own self for your own reasons. So instead, what the Bible says is that we're to love one another. God didn't say, you know what, love one another, but before you do, check out what their sin is. And they can do anything. They can lie, they can murder, they can steal. But if you find that they are being with their same sex in sex, if you see they're bisexual, do not service them, do not love them, Do not do anything to them. God didn't say those things. He said to love your neighbor as you love yourself. So that's what you should do. And so we get it, as Christians, we get it wrong a lot of times, because as soon as we come to God, sometimes, many of us, we say, oh, we're with God. So now we're in the realm of perfection where we're able to correct and object to anything that's going wrong in the world. And we're the ones who knows best because we're being led by the one who created the whole world. But what is God's purpose for us actually? God never really, nowhere in the Bible says anything about, about anything else. But his main topic, I'm trying to say, is that his main focus is for us to follow him. His whole thing, repetitively. Many people get it wrong, even in the Bible, where they call things out that God never said to do or God never said to say. But because we get in a spiritual mode and we say, oh, God is telling me to do this or whatever, we get so focused on trying to follow God and be as holy as he is that we forget that God called us to love people and to treat them with respect and kindness and bring them to God through that love. So God's whole purpose throughout the whole Bible is to bring anyone to him who wants to have a relationship to him. And then after you have the relationship and understand what the relationship's about, then go and get others to bring to him. I mean, when you start cutting people out and saying, because you're this way, I can't be around you or I can't service you, then that cuts out the purpose of God. Because regardless, all he wants to do is bring us the most people in before the time is over with. So, I mean, you can love people through scenarios. I mean, who's to say that someone wasn't born like that? Like for me, I was born with probably more male tendencies than female as I grew up. My dad, he is somebody who always wanted to have boys, so that's why you see so many of us. I have 5 brothers and sisters. The first 3, I'm the second one. The first 3 were girls, and then there were 2 boys and then 1 girl. So you can see, he always made it clear to us that he always wanted a boy first. And you can see through the pattern of how he had kids, that was true, because he had first girl, my big sister, then me, then my little sister. Then he finally gets a boy, like, okay, a boy, let me try for another one. And here comes another boy, and then he tries again, and it turns out to be a girl. So maybe he wanted to end that way. But anyway, when I was very little, I had boy tendencies or boy traits. I like the boy things. I felt like I was Superman. I always wanted to wear the Superman outfit. If my mom wanted to put me in a dress, I didn't like that. I mean, I just posted a family picture where I'm just looking like, just like, who knows what that was about. But for me, I probably know myself, so I know it was probably because I had to put that dress on. That's why I'm looking like that. And I couldn't wear my Superman outfit. But anyway, people can be actually born with these traits to feel like, oh, I'm more attracted to this person or that person, or maybe just that I have more traits of if I'm a boy, I have more traits than a girl, or if I'm a girl, I have more traits than a boy. And that's just how it is. But also, as you go on, that doesn't mean that you're definitely going to end up liking the opposite sex or the same sex. But as you go on, society might try to, give you thoughts where you think that you like the other person or whatever. It might be your own thoughts that you do. But I'm just saying that it is possible to be born that way and to actually experience life like that. Because I remember when I was in, middle school, maybe 6th grade or something. I'm still boyish a little. I'm very quiet. So we have a test. We're learning about, and what do you call it? Anatomy, or I don't know, bodily functions or whatever. Sex education, pretty much. And I know nothing about this subject because my parents don't teach anything or hadn't had time to instruct in that kind of way. Let me say instead. But I'm in the class and the teacher's teaching, the subject is foreign to me, so I don't know anything. Then we get a test and I just get a big fat F because I don't know what the heck's going on in this class. I don't know about this stuff. And then after the F, then they pretty much, it was a conversation in the class about, to find out which person did better on which test, because it was 2 tests, a test about boys and a test about girls. I pretty much flunked both of them, but I got better on the boys test. And people went around and said, what's your score on this? And they're like, oh, you're a boy. And then like a little later on, then all the, the bougie girls or whatever, they're all joined up together, and then like they go around and go to each person and say, okay, look at your nails. And I look at my nails like this, and they're like, oh, you're a boy, because all the girls are supposed to look at their nails like this, oh, my nails, oh my gosh. But I looked at my nails like, what, nails? So they're like, you're a boy. So society can also participate in that. But, I could care less. I've always had kind of male traits. I like the athletic kind of stuff. I used to watch, what's the old shows, like Knight Rider, when my big sister would want to watch something else. Or, just boyish traits. I mean, she would get the Raggedy Ann doll. I would have Raggedy Andy, the boy, Raggedy Ann. So it was just that kind of thing. Society can also participate in it. But on your own accord, you could probably actually be feeling these feelings inside. And this is what turns into that. But here's what God says. His whole purpose is to infiltrate you with his spirit. Open his spirit within you and realize that none of these things of your flesh, all these desires of your body, don't even matter. Get in touch with your spirit. The spirit doesn't desire sex and all that. If you see yourself always wanting sex, you're not working in the spirit. You're only on your own flesh. There are things that your spirit does and things that your flesh does. Flesh is worried about food like me. I'm about to have a breakdown because I haven't had anything to eat. But I know better than that because I know it makes sense to me. I'm just like a gobbler. It makes sense to me that I know good and well I've had way enough to eat. Yesterday I had the rice. I haven't really gotten anything to eat now, but I'm about to get my vitamin shake. But yesterday I had about 3 glasses like this of water. Wait, I gotta bring it up so you can see. Like that, of water. And I had lots, like 2 bowls of rice and eggs. And I had the vitamin shake mixed into my smoothie, which was spinach, a lot of spinach and some fruit and cream. So all that stuff, that's enough. But still something in your body is like, oh, this is my body. And it makes me feel so good to pick out. And you want to eat and eat and eat. But you got to think, I've already had more than enough. I mean, there's people in third world countries who only get maybe a fish per day and a cup of water, and they're still living. So you're not going to have a breakdown. You're not going to die. So just calm your nerves and you'll be all right. So it's there's 2 sensories inside of you always going at work, at least 2. Once your spirit is active, it has a mind of its own. It's telling you what to do. Just like there's no way in the world I would go on any kind of fast because just eating as much as I want feels so great. But instead, my spirit is like, okay, it's not healthy for you. That's pretty much the difference between when you're young or old. It's not going to, red meat and all the foods that you just pick out on, that's not going to be good for your body. So if anyone looks at their past picture, the only difference between them now and then is pretty much that there's more fat on them. So, and that's because from all the eating. If you start losing your weight again, then you'll see, oh, I have a more youthful appearance like when I was back in the day. So you don't really need to pick out, but it's just the control. And you gotta realize your flesh begs for something that it doesn't even need. I mean, you can see if you got multiple sex partners, you can look around at your life and say, oh man, I'm going through a lot of stress. What the heck's going on? Probably because all those sex partners you have. Can you think about it? You don't even need all them. You just need one. What you greedy for? But and that's the thing that brings me back to God, because in the Bible He doesn't really tell us, go get married. You must stand in front of. That's going to be my next subject. You must stand in front of a priest and have a formal meeting to be married. No, God classifies you as married for whoever you slept with. So if you're out there sleeping with 30, 50, that's all your husbands. That's all your wives. Okay, and that's why you have the stress that you have now, because you got about 50 people that you slept with, and their spirit has stuck to you. And in God's eyes, you're married because you're with all those people. And those people haven't passed away or anything. They're still walking this earth. So, what was I saying? Oh, God never tells you to do that, but in a sense, He does. He took Eve from out of Adam's rib, and that's how He joined them together. And once you have that connection of flesh, then in the heavenly realm, you are married. So it's not like the next subject I was going to say that I posted on Twitter is where Supreme Court is always deciding and in fluctuation of whether they should demand pastors to marry bisexual or gay people. No, that's not right for our Supreme Court to do. I'm the least prejudiced person on anything. I feel like whoever's gay or whoever's bisexual, they're my equal. They have done nothing worse than me, than the things that I've done in my life. If I've lied or anything, I mean, their sins are equal to me. Who am I to look and say, oh, I might have lied, but you're sleeping with your own same sex? I'm not. It's not for me to judge them on that. It's for God to judge. It's for me to love them through whatever they're going through. But at the same time, this is something you should not do. I just read from the auto owner where he says that he will deny people who want to buy from him or whatever, but he'll sell guns or whatever, something weird. But he'll deny you just because you're gay and he won't service you. But that's completely wrong to do. But this is wrong for the courts to do. Because somewhere in our Constitution, I'm not so good at the government stuff. If you look at my history, I'm probably barely passing with a C. But somewhere in our Constitution, it says there should be a separation of government and your religion belief. Government should not be able to come into somebody's religious place and say, okay, you must, because we're now calling this some kind of discrimination, you must marry these people. They don't have the right to come into your religious beliefs and say, okay, now you must do this, even though it's against your religious belief. The pastor, if it's a pastor who really believes in the word of God, then that pastor would understand that, the homosexual or the bisexual or the heterosexual or whoever you are, whether you have man and man or man or woman, they're all the same. And it's his whole goal to lead you to Christ. But he shouldn't have to mix his message. Because if I go to a church and I know God's word and I know what God's for and against, and I've been listening to the preacher preach that the whole time, and then I come in there and he says, okay, we're going to marry this person. Even I know my pastor doesn't know, I would know my pastor has an understanding that homosexuals should not be judged at all and should be treated fairly. But then you go reach into God's word and you see that God says that he would not like this union to occur, but then you perform it anyway. Then that is a violation of someone's rights. And a government should not be able to force somebody. That's like in any religion. If you're Buddha or something, if the government says, you know what, today, we want all statues to be. I mean, why does this statue have to be of an Asian man who's overweight and being here? That's discrimination from all the other statues. So I have someone here. He goes to your church and he wants to put a skinny African man in your church as the symbol for your religion. So stick that in there. And now you continue to preach how you were. When the Buddhists that you were teaching, when they come into your place and they say, well, what's the skinny African man doing as a statue in here? Sitting next to the Asian fat man. Well, what's this about? And you say, oh, well, this is what I preach right here. But this skinny African man has to be in here too, because we don't want to be we don't want to discriminate any kind of way because the government's going to get us. It's not fair to change someone's religion. The religion of Christ, Christian, is not a religion, actually. It's a relationship. It's not about trying to say, no, you can't come. God says, come willingly. I mean, if anyone's ever played Pac-Man, I mean, everyone's played Pac-Man. That's the whole game of God. Nothing is important to God. You can chase pellets all day, but until that monster turns into a Holy Ghost and you gobble him up, that's when the points start to actually count. I mean, God's whole plan, people are saying God said this. Just recently, there's this, I posted this yesterday on Twitter. There's this show that tried to have some weird show where people have this big box on the stage, and then um, they send two people into the box, and they get freaky in there, and they have sex, and then they're supposed to come out and tell the whole audience what this sex experience was like. And then there's this pastor on the panel who says, you know what? I considered this. They asked me to be a part of it. And then I thought about it and I consulted God. And God told me I should be a part of this. Now, what you can tell when God has said to do something, first of all, it's going to succeed unless he has plans for it to fail. But it's going to succeed and it's going to have a purpose to it. If I flipped on this sex show, somebody just got freaky in a box. What am I learning about God? What's that have to do with anything? See, sometimes you got different spirits competing against each other. Evil would like to creep inside of you if you got the Holy Ghost at any time, and sometimes it succeeds. It succeeds in creeping inside of you. But you gotta weigh God's things. God's only purpose. Look, this is God's plan for everybody's life: to live, to find Him in a relationship, to follow His teachings in love, and then go bring other people into the relationship. That's all God's. If you have a word from God, that's what it's going to be about. At the end of the day, if you don't find yourself bringing anybody into the body of Christ or forming a deep relationship with God where you're working in love, then most likely that's not. He hasn't told you anything. I mean, everything in the Bible, when he told Abraham, go, usually his command is always either go or come. When Jesus walked the earth, he told the disciples, come, leave what you're doing and come. Or if he told, when he told Abraham, go, leave what you're doing and go to where I want you to go so you can affect the world with my message. It's either going to be a come or go usually. It's not going to be get on stage at a Freaknik and describe the sex. What's this point? What point would it get to? But I'm gonna get off of that. But that's God's point. If you ever want to know what's God's will for your life, that's what it is. He has blessed you, whether it be whatever kind of talents you have, talent of speaking, talent of singing, talent of dancing, whatever talents he has given you, those aren't in you for anything. And usually your experiences of life are indicators of what you should focus your life on. So that's the way. God's not hard to figure out. He has one message for all. He's not prejudiced, and he doesn't think of one more highly than the other. Although he has a freedom to have favoritism and bless one as he seems fit. Like he has a special partiality to widows and orphans. If you don't have a dad, God feels for you, trust me. And he's going to throw random blessings in your life. And you're going to be able to experience some good things because he realized the painful thing of not having a dad, how that can affect the life. Also, a widow. You've lost your provider. You've lost your husband. God's got special provisions for you as well. He takes special note into those who don't have a dad or who have lost a husband. So God has a favoritism for that thing. There's certain things that God does like a little more, but in the same thing, in the same sense of everything, he still counts us all as his children. So we should realize that. So we shouldn't be, the whole goal of this video is to say we shouldn't be prejudiced against gay in any way. I mean, love can change anyone. It's all about, if someone is gay, let them be who they are. In God's time, if you're fishing out love, then that person will actually grow more in their spirit than in their flesh. And their fleshly desires will start to die. What's the boy's name? Antoine. I'm trying to think. I don't know his last name. Antoine, but everybody knows this this video that was made into a song where it says, hide your kids, hide your wife. You know what I'm talking about. Where he had a sister and somebody tried to break into the window and rape his sister. And then he goes on news and he's with attitude and he's like, I bet you won't come back here. Yeah, we got it out for you. I can't believe this. You gotta hide your kids. You gotta hide your wife. Nobody is safe. And hide your husband because they're raping everybody out here. You know that they made it into a whole song. If you don't, then just Google it. You'll see what I'm talking about. But it's funny how they made it into a song. But this man, you can see these days, and probably in the past too, sometimes you can be flamboyant where on the outside, just like if you're a girl and you wear, like me, if you saw me a few years, you might check me. If when I was in my teenage years, you might see me in Dickies or Starstreams and some Jordans and T-shirt. I mean, just pretty much unfeminine. And you might have a tendency to say, "Oh, she must be gay" or something like that. I don't know, but I still walked in a kind of feminine way, I guess. I don't know, but you can also, there's sometimes you can be flamboyant where you're outside and you can tell if someone is, goes a certain way or is gay or whatever. And this is how he was. And of course, later on, it comes out that he is gay. But also later on, I don't know what changed him. I'll probably look at that later on today. But I saw an article run past me where he says that he's given up the whole homosexual lifestyle. And it's because of God. And that's such a beautiful thing. Because it's not to say that the way you're living is wrong, but it's to say that you have just put away your whole flesh. Anybody who's making any change and say, I put away my fleshly desires and I've come to God and I'm working out of my spirit these days. That's the most beautiful thing. It's not to say that what you're doing in your flesh is wrong or anything like that. It's to say that you have the wisdom from God to say, I give my life over to you, and anything that my body wants to do, I'm going to put that to the side and do something different. So that's the whole goal. That's when you can tell a changed life. Somebody, because me, anything that I put to the side for God, that's a changed life. You can trust that person, trust that person's trying to go on a better path, in the path that God has for them. I mean, people might have lots of sins piled up on them, whether it be whatever. Like if they are just a habit of trying to swindle somebody out of something with multiple lies, or you can tell if somebody's been to jail over and over for the same thing. They've tried to write hot checks or something. They've always done that. And then one day they say, you know what? These lies aren't getting me anywhere. But I did, while I was in jail one time, hear about God. And I'm going to put all these lies to the side and I'm going to go pursue to see who God actually is and pray that he makes a change in my life permanently so I won't turn back to this. Because make no mistake, just like Antoine here announced to the world, oh, I'm putting away homosexuality and I'm turning to God. Yeah, if you happen to catch him later on and he's in a homosexual act again, don't hold it against him and say, oh, you say you were turning to God, look at you, you're just a hypocrite. No, he's a spirit in motion. He's a spirit pursuing the will of God. And if he falls, which you're going to fall many times, unless God empowers you to not do so. Because sometimes it's hard to turn over your whole life and your whole trust and your whole faith in God. So during that transition, you're having a pull of yourself. Oh, this is what I used to do. It's so familiar. But this is where I'm supposed to be. This is why God created me to be. So I'm trying to get over here with God and be with God and do what God would rather have me do. So it's a whole pull and a push motion where eventually, with all hope from God, eventually you'll be that spirit God created you to be and only work out of your spirit. I think a few days ago I read what's the traits of a spirit and what's the traits of your flesh. And spirit is all about love, compassion, a relationship with God, obedience to God, being able to go out and help, to give, to care about others and their needs. So through all of that, the love that you're expressing, someone's going to take that in and want to express it to the next person too. And it's supposed to be an emotion like that where it's continuous and it never ends. But the actions of the flesh is usually about giving, like me, for my own self. Oh, give me food, give me food. I don't even need all that food. Just calm down. So it's all about what I can get. Oh, I can get food. I can get clothes for me. I gotta give me some money so I can get me a big house and a big car and give me some fancy clothes and just do for me and me and me. Oh, you're homeless? I don't care. I gotta do for me. At the end of the day, I want me. But at the end of the day, you don't realize that everybody has their day to be judged. What is more important to be so for me today, or to be so for God today, so that when you really experience the after, the life that is the truer life, which is your spiritual life. Because obviously, you're not going to be in this body forever. I mean, the only difference between a live body and a dead body is the blood that pumps in them and the spirit that allows you to walk around. So once your body is gone, you still exist. That's why I always say that there's no reason to be mad at God for taking a life away from this earth. A lot of people, of course, you miss your person. You care about the person that you were with. Like if you're in a long-term relationship, you might be with somebody for 50 years and all of a sudden they're gone. You knew they would go one day. You can't be mad at God because God created that spirit, put it inside of a body, set it on earth to do the challenge where you have the choice to walk this earth in your own path and be your own God, or find the Creator and walk in the earth as you were designed to be. So you have those two options. So God puts you in a body, your spirit in a body. You're walking around, you're breathing, living. You have a certain amount of years, no more than 120 usually, which goes like this. And you have that little bit of time to figure out, oh, I'm not my own God. God is God. And He's the one who created me, and He's the one that I should be serving, because without Him there would be no me in the first place. So it's all a test. It's all a test. Who will you serve this day? That's what He says. Choose this day who you will serve. If you, at this day, and then the next day, and the next day, and the next day, all you choosing to serve is you, then we know who your God is. It's you. But if you choose to come outside of yourself and see that there's more going on in this world than just you, then that's when you start to realize that, yes, I was created and with a purpose, and I was created by my Creator, so I should use my life to influence and love others and influence them in the Word of God. Because at the end of the day, we all come out of this body and become our true self. We're raised, what is living in us, we're raised and we go to God's presence. And that's the day where Jesus, who's sitting on the right hand of God, has the ability to say whether we've been walking in His path or not. In a sense, we're the only ones. If you're scared of going to hell or whatever, you're the only one who can send yourself to hell. It's not nobody else. It's not even Jesus sending you to hell. Although He sorts you out in His Word, He says, I'm going to sort out to the left and to the right. On the right is the ones who chose me, who followed me. On the left is the ones who chose themselves or their own pathway or their own ways to do things. So at the end of the day, He's just sorting you out. I'm giving you what you wanted. Why would I put you over here? You're not going to be happy here. You weren't happy in the world doing anything godly or trying to follow God or anything. So why would you be happy now? I'm going to give you what you want. Go on over there where you want to be. And everybody who followed me, come on this side. I mean, trust me, we all have a judgment day where we will face that decision. And we will face what we chose to do instead of follow God. So that's all what life's about. It's a whole test. God is somebody who's not going to force Himself on you. He's a gentleman in a sense. He's saying, you know what? I'm not going to put anybody on my team. Just like if you're on a football team. If you're playing for the Texans and you're on the Texans and you're saying, oh, I'd rather go play for New York. I don't like this team. Look, if this gets out and you keep saying it, and the coach is going to be like, well, go. What are you on my team for? I can't even trust that you want me to win now. You're free to buy. I mean, that's how it should be in any relationship, whether it be a husband and wife, if you're a parent with a child. I mean, of course, you're going to wait till that child gets of age, 18. But after all the instruction, all those 18 years of instruction that you're telling them to go a certain way, that's the better for life, and they want to just do the opposite, then eventually you have to put them in God's hand. You can't ruin your own life in your own time, although you can still sit back and pray for them. God, my child's out there, and I pray every day that you place in his spirit your love so he knows that he has a home, he or she has a home at home that they can always come to. I'm always open, but if they want to go, I'll let them go. I mean, never keep anyone captive or trap someone, because that's not love at all. And that's how God does it. I'm not going to trap you. If you want to be free, be free. If you find something better than me, go get it. But while you're out there experiencing life, just like a story in the Bible of the prodigal son, where a king who's representing God in this story in the Bible, a king has two sons, and they're growing up. The king loves them. He's trying to say, oh, you'll be ruler soon. You'll have everything I have soon. But one of the sons is patient, and he says, okay. The other son is like, wait a second. All this is supposed to be mine. I want it right now then. Just give it to me. I don't want to wait any longer for it. I don't want to wait till you die or whenever you feel like it. I want it now. So the king's like, okay, it is yours. I'll go ahead and give it to you. Go ahead. Man, the boy goes, runs out, experiences life, has all kind of fun, probably spends all his money on drinking or women, doing all kind of things. But when his money runs out, then he's looking like, oh my gosh, I was so disrespectful to my dad. I took all his money and just didn't care about even saying goodbye. I probably didn't even say I love you when I left out the door. I was just so excited about having this wild life. But now that all my resources are gone and all the women are gone and all the money is gone, I have nothing, and I don't even think he'll let me come back home after all this. So instead of coming home or even trying to come home, he goes out and he just tries to make it on his own. He ends up eating out of he ends up sneaking the crap that pigs eat. He ends up sneaking that and eating that. And in the midst of filling his face with pig filth, he's looking like, oh my gosh, I'm out here in the dirt where the pigs eating this slop. And I had a home where my dad was the king. So what he does is says, you know what, it's worth a try. I'll just go home and see what's going to happen. He knocks on the door. Well, he doesn't even get to the door. The dad, he sees him from far away coming up the road. And he hurries up and sends his crew, all his servants, hey, go get him. Go put a rope around him. Go put it, just take care of my son. That's my son. He was lost, but now he's found. He was blind, but now he sees, if you know that song. So that's the whole meaning of that. That's the same way God is. God's had us with us. We're his spirit. Where you think these bodies and souls are coming out? God's working with them up in the heavens. He has a spirit. He formed the first man out of dirt, blew into his nostrils the spirit of life, and that made him a living soul, a living soul. So that's what he's doing. He's taking the spirits that are around him. He puts them through the test. Everybody's going through the test. Here's a spirit. I put you in this, being birthed through this person, or through this person, through this person. And it's your goal as the spirit I sent you down to find who created you, to find why you were made. And you can find that through my word. That's why I'm not a cruel God. I'm going to let you know a little about me, of course, and how I do things by letting you read my word and making my word available to you. So that's the whole point. He sends you down, and your goal is to come back to him. Just like that king went ahead and let his son go out. Free will. You can do whatever you want. You can have whatever you want. At the end of the day, the boy realized that those possessions and everything wasn't important. What's important is being around his loving father who cares and wants a real relationship. He's not like the skanky women who were just trying to be around him for his money, or his friends who he found out there who was only around for the money and the good times, but when all that was gone, then he's out there eating the pig slop. So that's what God's saying. All I'm creating you for is to go in the world, find me, come back to me, because I already had you. Just come back to me, and then tell others about me. And then when you come back home to me, I have rewards, even though it's not important to get his rewards, but God's still faithful and true. You might not be getting your rewards in earth. You might be living the lowest of low and having so many troubles going through, but God also says that if Jesus Jesus himself said, if I go through all these things, of course you're going to go through them too. I mean, they spit on Jesus. They lied on Jesus. Jesus had a ton of haters that followed him just for the point of hating on him. I mean, it's bad when you're around someone, you've placed yourself in a situation where you got haters. But when you got haters that just come, like if you're making a YouTube video and you're trying to spread the message of God, and the hater only intention is to watch the video so they can pick out something about you and talk about it, that's that Jesus kind of hate. And I love it. So if you're looking at this just so you can say something, I love it. Anyway, back to it. God is saying you're going to go through all kind of troubles, all kind of trials, all kind of situations that shouldn't even go on. But through my word, through your relationship with me, you can stand through anything. You can make it through everything. Don't worry about none of this stuff, because in the end it doesn't matter. You'll stand at the end on the right hand of Jesus, while your haters, who could care less about God's message, is standing on the left hand begging. There's a scenario also in the Bible. There's so many Bible stories that relate to real life, and that's why God has made this Bible, so we can know these things really do happen. These things do really apply to real life existence. And there's a story where there's a man who ends up going to hell. And he's saying, oh, please, I didn't know hell was going to be like this, God. Please let me out and send me back just so I can tell my family members, turn from what you're doing, please, because this hell is no joke. Please just let me out. And he's told, look, we send plenty of people. God's sending me to spread his message right now. Plenty of people all around. You hear God's message all through the streets, all through the TVs. There's messages about hell going on. If they didn't believe those people, why would they believe you? I mean, it's no point in sending you back into the world to say, yeah, I've been through hell. Because it's people right now to this day who are coming back and saying, yeah, I experienced. You can Google somebody, man dies and goes to hell and returns to life. You can Google that all day. I mean, the internet now makes everything accessible. There's no excuse for anything. If you want to, whatever you want to look up, who you are is what you look up. If you're somebody who looks for, you use your internet to search porn, that's who you are. Not to say that you're evil or have more sense than the next person, but that whatever you're going to, if it's not godly, then you should realize that there may be an issue with that, and you may want to work that out with yourself. So people can all day right now Google a man who goes to hell and comes back and shares his experience about what hell was like. But that doesn't mean that anybody's going to listen to him. They'll just listen to the story. Oh, good story. It sounded interesting. It got my blood percolating. I was flowing in it. And it felt good just to hear something that is out of the ordinary. But what's that got to do with me? That doesn't mean I'm going to change my life. So that story applies to today. It tells you, if somebody, think to yourself, if somebody came right now, if your relative, they died, and they came to you and said, you know what, I died, I came back, and I had experience of hell, and I don't want you to go to hell. How likely is it for you to change your life just based off that story? Not likely at all. It's because that usually takes your own hard experiences to change something within you. And if you don't ever have hard experiences, that's why we should always thank God. Even if we're going through trials and tribulations or whatever, we should thank God. Thank you for this trial, because you know what? Without this experience, I mean, this is my whole life story. Without this experience, I wouldn't be able to have the knowledge and the wisdom of you and the love for you and the relationship with you that I have today. So if any time hard times come along, welcome them openly, because you know what? God saves you out of them all. It's an experience just to turn you to him, because when you get to your lowest point, when there's no out of anything, where you just feel trapped and there's no way to get out of your situation, at the end of the day, what you start thinking is, you know what, God? I heard about you a long time ago. I've never developed a relationship with you, but there's nothing else to turn to. I could turn to drugs all day, eventually probably commit suicide, but I don't really want to die. I know that's against you from what I heard back in the day. You don't want me to die, you want me to live. So please, at this moment, show me who you are, help me through this. And when you come out of that, then you reflect back. Who was with me through the trial? Usually anybody who claimed to be with you is not going to be with you. They're going to be gone because nobody wants to be around someone who's down. Everybody wants to be around up. Oh, if you're doing good, so am I. Come around me. I like you. As soon as you do the littlest bad, oh, what? I mean, let's think of experience. I would like to have an example of what I'm talking about. Let's say Obama. Obama was running for president. Oh, yes, he's black. Let's get him. Everybody. I mean, you can go nowhere without hearing about Obama. Y'all voting for Obama? Yeah, we're going to get him in there. And just because a culture has an idea of what the things that should be done, of course, nobody's perfect. And to change laws, it's going to take somebody, one person with good intentions to be president for a span of about 50 years to make a different change in the whole system of things. You cannot do much within 4 years or 8 years or 12. But out of every president, whether it's Bush, whether it's whoever, President Abraham Lincoln, whoever, whatever they try to do that's positive in that moment is what they felt is positive, and you voted them in. But you look around in the black community to these days, and everybody's saying, you know what, F Obama, F this, F that. I don't see no change in the hood. I mean, come on. How many years did it take humanity after slavery and everything just to get us in the poverty areas? It took a long time to get us in. It's going to take a longer time to get out. Just because someone with your same complexion is now president doesn't mean, voila, it's a miracle. I have lots of money in my bank account. No, let's lose our sense. And don't try to downplay somebody. Always try to build someone up. It's better to build up than to tear down. And when you're tearing down, you're not doing anything. If you build someone up, you can participate in that person's plan and help them go into the direction that they're supposed to go. So it's always good to build someone up rather than to tear them down, even though that can be a hard trait. But yeah, that's the whole point. To end this video, because it's going on now 50 minutes, and I like to keep my stuff pretty short because I know things can get long. But this was a good subject for me. It's a good subject, just like relationships. These are topics that are very easily to talk all day on. But anyway, this whole summary, to summarize this up, and also speaking of this, check out every Sunday. Today is Sunday, so obviously, what's that mean to you? Let me let you have a minute to guess. It should mean that you are listening to my Bible reading. Today I read from Mark 1, 2, and 3. I decided to switch it to 3 episodes or 3 chapters per Sunday, since I realized that it will take probably till I'm 151 to read through this whole New Testament. And so I already read 3 chapters of Mark 1. Pretty much Mark 1 is just a repeat of Matthew. It's the same thing over and over. Matthew's the same, Mark's the same. The first 4 books, I think, of the New Testament are all based on trying to tell the same story, but by different people of what Jesus did. So Mark's, I've already posted that on Twitter and Facebook. Facebook, my just regular name, Adrian Germany. YouTube is Adrian Germany. I switched it to my regular name. Twitter, @__, Adrian ____. Adrian is spelled ADRIENNE. You can also check out things on daviddancer.com. There's a forgiveness challenge where all you do is think about all the things, because this stuff weighs you down whether you know it or not. Think about everything that you feel that you've been offended by or someone has hurt you in some way. Think of that stuff. Dance it out. Use all that energy, that anger that you build up. Put it in a dance. Dance it out. Record your dance. Be 18 or over, please, or get your mom's permission. Record your dance. Post it on your Facebook and say, you know what? This is me expressing my forgiveness. I'm energizing that forgiveness. Whoever has offended me, then I forgive them in this moment. And then also, because sometimes you unknowingly have offended others and you don't know it, you also post that you are forgiving everyone who's ever offended you. And also now, will you forgive me if I've ever offended you? So that way we make a ripple of forgiveness in the world. So that's something that's pretty much just started up. I haven't applied much energy to it. But maybe in about 30 years they'll catch on. But anyway, the subject of today, to summarize it, was that um, first, don't judge. Who are you to judge, says Christ. Um, I mean, love, that's what he says. Two, no matter if you're gay, heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, all these sexuals, that is not your true identity. Those things are things your flesh and your body wants. I mean, and that's not, your flesh is not what God's importance is. God cares about your soul. So anytime you want to lay down the actions of your flesh and say, God, you know what? I don't care about what this body is telling me to do it, but I care about having a relationship and having my spirit with you. So I'm going to lead a life of you and put down anything that was in my past and put it in the past. So, and three, just recognize through anything. I don't know how many of these fingers I'm going to pull up. I'm just thinking while I go on. Three, recognize that God loves you a lot and you were created to be with him. I mean, you have a short time on this earth. Time goes by quick. If you want to play around or whatever and do just what you want to do, then that's your choice. But at the end, you have to face the maker. He's going to say, I created you. Just like, so many stories that relate to things that I'm talking about. Just like in the Bible, when he says that Jesus tells a story about how in a businessman, pretty much, he leaves his 3 people. He's like, I'm going on a trip, but I want my business to continue. So I'm gonna give you 1,000, give you 1,000, I gave you 1,000. Keep my money, invest my money, do good with my money because I'm gone. And let's see what it do when I come back. So he comes back from the trip and he's like, okay, my 3 workers, where you at? Okay, what'd you do with the money? First worker said, you know what? I took your money, I flipped it into 5,000. The ruler's like, that's pretty good. Okay. He goes to the next one. I flipped your money, turned it into 2,000. It's not as much as the 5,000, but I made something. He's like, that's pretty good. Third one says, oh, I know what kind of leader you are. And you would be highly upset if I had taken your $1,000, made a mistake, and thrown it away and got nothing in return and lost the whole $1,000. And so the ruler is saying, you know what? That's a wicked thing to do. I gave you all this and you don't even try. Maybe if you tried and you still failed, then I would say, you're forgiven for it. But you didn't even try. You just hid the money until I came back and gave me the same 1,000 that I gave you. And I don't respect that in any kind of way. So that's what God's saying. I gave you this life. In this life, you think your voice was created by you? You think your dance moves was embedded in you, where like if you're a Michael Jackson, you just can on the spot just do the moonwalk or something? You think all those things were done by you? I'm the one who creates the body, the mind, the spirit, the soul. I create all those things to work together for the purpose of me. So I give you your $1,000 is your talent. What you gonna do with your talent to bring someone into the kingdom of God? What are you gonna do? And if at the end of the day you say, God, I had all these talents. I knew how to sing. I knew how to dance. I knew how to speak in front of large crowds, but I didn't want to. God's gonna say, that's not respectable at all. I gave you this life and you just wasted it. If you had applied anything, I was gonna be right there with you to help you infect and reflect and connect with masses in this world. I would have helped you to bring more people to me because that's my ultimate purpose. I'm looking through the earth for anybody who cares about anything of God. And that person I'm going to work with if they have the will to do my will. So that's how God does all the time. I mean, he tells you, if you want to know what God does or who he is, just flip through the Google it. What does God do? What does God say about this? I mean, resources are at our fingertips. So God in his Bible says many times that he looks through the earth looking to see, does anybody have any kind of understanding of me? Is anybody seeking me? Is anybody searching me? And that's the person that he works with. That's the person that he, connects with. He's like, okay, this person has my plan in mind. This person is using their $1,000 that I left with them to try to make more. This person is using the talent that I gave them to try to bring more to my kingdom. And of course, that person's going to have a blessed life. So you can expect what you give. What's Dre saying? What you give is what you get. You can just expect that. So what you're putting in is what you're gonna get out. If you're not seeing any blessings, not saying that God's like a genie, like, oh, as soon as I line up, because that's not my life either. As soon as I line up with God, that's when he's gonna give me everything in the world that I have ever wanted. That's not what it is. That's not what it's about. God blesses when it needs. And he's blessing. He's only interested. He cares about you, of course, but his ultimate goal is only interested in bringing more into his kingdom. Because he does not want to see any of you perish. Any of us perish. That's what he says in his word. I mean, that's why time goes on today. People think, oh, God just wants to end us, or God's not an evil God. He loves us. And just because you're bad doesn't mean that you should say, oh, I did something bad. God will never love me. No. He already knows what you're going to do. He wrote your whole life story. All he's doing is waiting for you to turn back to him and say, yes. That's it. Just yes. The life that you have for me planned out, yes. I want it. The life and the path that you want me to walk on, yes. I want it. I don't want to do my own thing. Because if you can look at your thoughts, what's your thoughts? When you woke up this morning, let's think about thoughts. This conversation is going long. I'm going to try to cut it out exactly at 60 minutes, which is like 4 minutes away. But what was your thoughts when you woke up? It probably was, ooh, I'm hungry. Look at the thoughts that you have during the day. Through the day, it's normal things. It's going to be, ooh, I'm hungry. If you're an adult, you're probably like, ooh, I feel kind of lonely and horny. Let me go find some kind of other species, not other species, but other, somebody of the other, man and woman or whatever. I don't know how to say it. But you're thinking about food, you're thinking about sex, you're thinking about some kind of fun activity, and all those things are in selfishness. At the end of the day, you've only thought about this many people. One. So try to be more mindful of what's going on around you. Oh, maybe you might want to wake up tomorrow and say, I'm going to purposely think, what can I do for someone else? That might start your day of course. Okay, I'm waking up. Who haven't I seen in a while? Maybe I'll go invite them to breakfast today. We'll sit at a table, we'll talk. I'll hear about what's going on in their life. And while I'm listening, I'm finding a way that I can fit into that person's life and say, you know what? That person just told me I'm struggling with my rent this month. And I know this person is not a greedy person. This person has never asked anybody. You got to sometimes determine who you're working with. Because some people will try to use game and run that on you. They'll be like, okay, I'm with this person, and I'm always trying to get money, so let me tell them a little sad story so I can get some out of them. Sometimes if you don't know the person, if that's a homeless person in the street, then sometimes you can give to them and just not think about should I or shouldn't I. But if you have close family members and you know this person in a scheme, what you do something valuable for them. Instead of giving them your money or whatever, you do something valuable and say, you know what, I'm going to pray with you in this situation, because you know what, my God said that 2 or 3 together praying on anything, it will be done in the name of Jesus. So this is more valuable than money, what I give you. I'll give you this prayer. Pray with them. If you don't have the money, pray with them for whatever their experience. And after you have the breakfast with them, you might drive around and say, you know what, I was finna go get me some new clothes, but you know what, I have somebody else, and you know, I have a niece or a nephew. Let me pick something up for them too, and come deliver it to them, and just stop by and say hi just for a couple of minutes. I don't have to stay all day. I can just pop in and pop out. After that, you might come home and say, I'm tired. let me just relax. You can use that time for yourself, or you might just say, you know what, do anything, just anything. Just always have somebody else on your mind, not just you, because it's so easy to get consumed with, making our selfies. Oh, I look so good today. Let me take selfie. Ah, you got that? Let me post it everywhere. Don't I look cute, y'all? Yes, I do. You know I look cute. Today I went and did this, and today I went and did that, and you didn't, but I did. I mean, it's easy to have that kind of tendency where you get consumed because you are you. So who's more you to look out for you than you? Of course it gets that way. And it doesn't mean that you're all selfish or you have to always consider somebody else. It's best to always consider, but if you have some times where you just want to care about yourself, or you need alone time, or time to reflect on your life, or time with God, then there's nothing wrong with that. But if it's a daily habit where all you're doing is taking selfies and talking about what you're getting for yourself, then not saying that it's a bad thing, but it's not a God thing, because God requires you to step out of yourself like this. I'm not somebody who cares about being on video. I mean, I'd rather not, because you get judged. I mean, I got everything that you can judge. Who cares about that? But I realized that life goes on, and let's see, give me 80 years. In about 80 years, when I'm no longer here on this earth, then it's possible someone might, by chance, run into my name. Maybe they're searching the country Germany, and they type in Germany, and then this pops up on their screen. And I say, I Googled Germany. What's this girl doing on here? What's she talking about? And they push play. And from that, they start hearing the message of God. That's when the meaning comes in to doing this. Because I can either just be on my MP3 like I always do and just hurry up and say the Sunday message like I always do, or like I had begun doing. First, I started off this, like years ago, just going through the Bible, posting up, like on Twitter, a summary of every chapter I read on the Bible, like in 2012. Then I got to the point of reading the Bible on MP3. Now I'm being, on video, talking about different subjects relating it to the Bible. The whole point is just to get the message of God out. I mean, everything that's built into me, I only want it to be godly things about God's word. I want to be about God's business. So that's my whole ultimate goal. Who knows where it'll go next? So maybe check me out in a couple of years. I'll be on somebody's stage talking about God, or in the streets talking about God. Well, I already know in the streets because I have messages to get out. Not just about God, but about uplifting where I come from, poverty areas. So it's always good that if you've even gotten out of your hood or wherever, to always come back. I don't care if you're out of it a little bit. You ain't gotta have grown from, the projects to the east side like the Jeffersons. You ain't gotta think that you're big time. If you just came from your home and gone to another ghetto or whatever, still always come back to where your roots was and try to give back, because you should know what went on in that area. And it's nobody better than you who would know what your area needs. So I know exactly what my area needs. Lots of activities. If you're from South Park, especially South Bank, or even my old neighborhood that I never came out in. I never came out in Sunnyside, but as a teen, I was always out in South Park, South Bank, Herschelwood area, but mostly South Bank. You know what your neighborhood needs, and I know what that neighborhood needs. If you're able to come back with some kind of plan for those who feel like there's no plan, because now that you're older, you see, these was just teens on the corners. What are teenagers? You understand what the age difference means. When you're a teenager, you feel like you're so grown. I remember when I got about teen, I don't know if it's hormones or anything, you just get into that mode where I'm grown now. What you gonna tell me? But you don't realize how little and how young and how short and precious time and life is, and how it can go like that. So many people have died right in that area. I mean, that no one gets a real good start. It's either you do one thing to help your family and something that you shouldn't be doing to help your family, or you just get in all kinds of trouble. But anyway, if you're from that area, there's a need for activities so kids won't rush to do the negative things on the street. There's a need for hope. That's why I'm pretty much an advocate of raising the what do you call it, minimum wage, because when kids see that they can make money a different way and make it quickly, nobody cares about going to get the McDonald's job. But if you raise the minimum wage to at least $10, then that gives someone like me the power. Because if I come in the area and say, you go get a McDonald's job, you'll be looked at sideways like, what? But if you come and say, look, minimum wage is now at least $10, that's $400, what? $400 a week for 40 hours. That's enough for you to provide for you, your mama, your family. If you got kids as a teenager, you can provide for all of them. You don't have to be out here doing this. But until then, like me, when I was young, people these days should be a little appreciative because it's raised some, but it's still not a level of decency. Because when I was young, I'm still going on with this conversation, but anyway, when I was young, my minimum wage was $4 and about 75 cents an hour, and that's real cheap. And I was somebody who didn't have pretty much with family situations. It was in my responsibility as a teen, 17, 18, to actually go out and get my own apartment because I didn't have a parental home to go back to. And I did not want to, since I didn't have that parental home, I had to move and stay with someone. And because I didn't want to stay there and live off someone, I had to get up and go and get my own. And as a 17, 18-year-old child, that's a rough thing to do when you're making $4.25 an hour. You start to realize the value of $1 and have to make ends meet pretty much any kind of way you can. And maybe that's why I'm so greedy today. Because when I didn't have back then now I'm looking like, oh, I can have a little bit of whatever I want, so let me just eat. But it's a rough thing to go through when you come through from poverty. So if you can uplift your streets, please do that, because people are actually out there suffering. There's real life scenarios. People turn, and then it's worse when you're only trying to do what you can do just so you can maintain a lifestyle below average. You're doing all these criminal things, selling drugs or whatever, so you can do a lifestyle below average, not even average. You're doing all this risking life, years in jail just for average, under average lifestyle. And that's very hurtful, that you can't even live above average. You just gotta barely be below the line and risking years of your life in jail. So go back to the street, show them how to get resumes, show them how to get jobs. If you have to use a little of your income and go buy a suit for someone to go get a job, then please do so. Show them how if they're not accepted, if they have gotten into the lifestyle of today's kids or whatever, which many have, and they've tatted all up and they got the tattoos on their face, and when they walk into an employment office, the employer's saying, like, just, what's this guy's name? Adrian Thomas, I think, on Facebook. I just watched a video. Check him out, Adrian Thomas. I think he's also from Houston, Texas. Two Adrians. Woo! But anyway, his video is saying, is a poem pretty much. It's poetic and it's beautiful because he walks into an office and you can see it on his face. He already knows what the opinion is going to be about him when he walks in the interview. So he comes in there, he tries to, keep a smile on his face a little bit, but he already knows how this is going to go. And he sits there and listens. He's like, yes, sir. And he's just responding to what the person is asking about. He's like, yes, sir. And then he's like, at the end of it, he's like, well, the interviewer is telling him, I didn't know that when you were going to come, you had the appearance of the tattoos on your face. So you got that. And we can't really have that here because you have to show your face out there. So he's like, it's okay. It's all good. I figured you were gonna say that because that's what everybody's saying that to me. So what I'm gonna do is all good. I'm gonna still be good. So he's saying that he's keeping his head up even though every job interview he goes in, he's being judged. And it's not, you shouldn't, just like homosexual, you shouldn't judge someone off their tattoos or anything. You know nothing about that person. That person can be an angel at heart. But just because the tattoos might mean something to them, or they've been through something and they've placed something on themselves, even on their face, to show the world, as soon as you see me, I want you to see what I've been through the message of this tattoo. You should be able to, I was on that part because I'm saying that even if you run into a child or a teenager who's on the street slinging or whatever, and you see that they might not be marketable, it might be a struggle just to get them into a job, then what you do is teach that person how to do a job their own self. I mean, in our culture, it's so weird that we have such a poverty status, but we are so highly minded sometimes. And we're like, oh, well, I can't do that. That's low work. But work with the person, help them if you see they want to be helped. Show them how that they can be their own boss, whether it be of lawn care. Some people see jobs and say, oh, I'm too good to do that. I mean, but at the end of the day, you got to eat. So are you going to be over here in poverty thinking you're too good, or are you going to get on the ball and say, it's time to make changes in my life? And it's respectable. No one realizes it anymore, but it's respectable to be your own boss. So what? You're going around to each house and cutting grass. You're your own boss. No, that's even higher than someone who's in a 9-to-5 job. You're your own boss. You make your own rules. You pay your own taxes. You do your own thing. Nobody tells you when to go. You make your own money. If you want to make more today, you go to more houses today. If you want to make less today, you stay at home and do nothing. You can go on vacation when you want to. You can pay your bills when you want to. You can do whatever you want. It's your money. You made it honestly and by yourself. Nobody can take that away from you. So if anybody ever say, oh, you just cut lawns for a living, and if they have a judgment to say about you, you don't have to be around that person. Let them talk behind your back. Haters will always come and find you regardless what you do. If you're in a 9-to-5, haters are going to follow you if they have that intention. Haters will follow me. I mean, there's plenty of people I'm sure that watch my video right now has no intention to listen to God's message. Only want to be able to criticize or say something. Oh, did you see that? Oh, she had on the pink lipstick and her lips lifted kind of thick, and she had a scar on her arm, and her hair wasn't really today. Did you see her edges? Oh my gosh, her lashes need to be redone. Oh my gosh, her eyebrows ain't a good arch. Oh my gosh. I mean, haters will come and get you all day. You can't worry about that. That's what I don't do. A hater can talk all day. If I'm your main subject, congratulations for you. At least you have something good going through your mind and in your thoughts. But while you're hating, get this message. It's something important for you. Don't neglect the message. Worry about me. Don't worry about me. Not me. Worry about you. But anyway, off of that, go back to your neighborhoods. Off another subject. I might make this a whole big subject another time, but I went from talking about don't judge homosexuals and don't also act off your flesh, turn to God to help your neighborhood. And with that, I am at least ready to go get my shake for vitamins. So I'm gone, and until next time, peace. I love you all in the sense of not because of who you are or what you do, just because I know that you were created by God Almighty, and He did not create you for me to be hating on you. So if you think I hate you, think again. I don't hate you. I don't got time to hate. Too many things go on in this world. I love you. If you need something from me, if I got it, it's yours. I'm a giving person. What little I have, I try to share with the world. I'm somebody who's pretty quiet. If you don't hear me talk to you a lot, that doesn't mean I hate you or I'm distant from you. It's just that that's my nature. Check my history. You see me at home. At home, I probably was a little loud because I'm that kind of person where I'm not so thirsty for a friend, let me say. So since without that thirst for a friend, many times you come into a new situation. Imagine yourself in school, and the day before school, you're thinking, "Oh, I'm in a brand new school. I don't know who's gonna be my friend today. I hope I make a friend." That was never my thought. Me, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm new day in school. Why?" That's pretty much because I'm not. When I get into a organized organization, because of my history of how I've grown up at home, then pretty much I'm focused on the business there. If I'm in school, that's why I never felt. Check my record. If I never felt like being in school, I'm not gonna be at school. You can see me months in a row, but luckily, with God's graces, He had His hand on my life. Even months in a row out of school, I would still pass. Not to give kids a bad influence, because hopefully you have parents who are mindful of your life. And even though my parents, with the truancy letters that came in the mail, even though they tried to be mindful, I would still not be there if I had no school on my mind. But when I'm in school, or if I'm in a business, anything, I'm about the business. I'm about the school. I'm not going to place myself, and I'm not going to give my 100. If I'm going to be in your place, if I'm going to be in school or at work or anywhere, I'm going to give 100%, not slacking or nothing. I'm not going to spend your time lollygagging or, just trying to ride the clock out. I'm not about that. If I'm not going to work hard, I'm not going to be there at all. So pretty much that's what it is. Me, I'm quiet. And when I'm focused on something, that's all it is. And I'm not the kind of person on the first day of school, what kind of friends I'm going to make. I care less about friends, because my personality attracts easy. And I'm not so for the loud crowd, though, because usually the loud crowd is the one for gossip and stuff. So if you're loud and trying to gossip, me and you aren't really going to click, because I'm not about the gossip. I care less about what she doing, what he doing. I care less about that. But usually I'll sit and let who wants to come into my world, who wants to take the time to unravel me, someone who's sitting back and saying, "Oh, what's she about?" Then that person, if you're really interested, don't just come and yakking, and expect me to be yakking back. No, if you really cared about me, I don't need just some frivolous person. You want to care about me, then show me you care about me. And I don't have any problem revealing who I am, but I'm just a quiet nature. I have no tendency or I have no desire to be boastful and say, "Here I am, y'all, now love me." No, that's not me. I'm just more on the hush. I just let it ride. I watch a lot. I see a lot. And I know exactly what I want to deal with and not. That's pretty much how we should all come into any relationship. Don't just come boisterous into a relationship and just think, "Oh, yeah, I'm just going to show you as, everything," and, just be out like that. You can be like that. There's no discrimination against that personality. But it's never worked for me. I'm just someone quiet. If you find out about me, it's going to take a time to unravel me. If you find out about me and unravel me, you'll notice there's a lot of God that I'm about. You'll know there's a lot of sarcasm I'm about. Those are the two main things. I like to make quick jokes, and I love to talk about my God. So that's about it. Don't be offended and think, "Oh, I'm just somebody who wants to stay away." No. And pretty much it's almost like in a DNA, because it's a trait that I've seen in others of my family. So where they're just pretty much quiet and to themselves, and it's no offense to you, it's just an introvert trait. But out of my siblings, I probably have the most extrovert trait. I'm introvert and extrovert. When I want to, I can get loud and exposed, and in any way like that, like this video, I can be like this in front of people, depending on who I'm around. If you're all about just negativity and gossip, I will never be like that. I would just sit back and listen to all the gossip you say, and then hopefully flush that out of my mind in the next few minutes. But yeah, if you see me, if you don't hear from me, then like I said, I do love you. I'm just not a very talkative person. I have no desire to talk about anything except God. I mean, that's what's important to me. And before I had God, I had no desire to really talk about anything. I mean, what's my interest? If I get on the level with you, the interest is not about, "Oh, what do you like?" Do you like football? Do you like sports? Do you like food? It's not like that. Just because those are some things that you find out, some things that I like, then I'm just gonna be talking about them all day. Mostly, if I talk to you, it's gonna be on a sarcastic level. I'm always just constantly making jokes. That's it. That's all. I have no specific topic. It's not like I'm. Are you political, or we just sit around and talk about Obama or Hillary or anybody all day? I'm not a topic person. I mean, if you have a topic to me, then I'm probably gonna turn it into a joke if I'm talking to you. I welcome everyone to talk to me. So if you start talking to me, it's gonna probably be something funny at the end of it because I love making jokes. That's just what I do. But it's just as far as having a desire to come out and say, let's talk about this subject or that subject. Uninterested. I rather listen. I'll listen to you all day, and that's a good trait too because a majority of people like to just talk, talk, talk. And usually, if you have two talkers together, then you don't get anything out. But to have someone to actually listen is a good thing. So that's pretty much what I'm good at, and that's what I do. I also, on my website, daviddancer.com, it's an area where if you're going through something, I can listen to you. It's true. I can listen to you, so you can just type in, oh my gosh, I had the worst day of today, and this is why. And you know what? Somebody in the world cares about you, and they'll respond to you. And that person is me. I'm going to say, you know what? Based on biblical teachings, I'm not just going to give you what I just want to tell you. I'm going to say, you know what? This is what God says about your situation. And you don't have to be through that. You don't have to worry about anything because He's got you. That's pretty much going to be a summary of them all because that's the answer for everything. Jesus Christ, God. But I'm rambling so much. And it's already been 1 minute and 20. Oh, what? 1 hour and 21 minutes and 43 seconds. So with the last 10 seconds, I will say that remember I do love you. Just because I'm away doesn't mean that I don't. And God loves you more than anything. So find Him and you'll find love. Goodbye.